the regular board meeting of December 21st, 2020. If we can all rise to pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's start off with the vouchers. Where do we put Danielle on here? Let's see. We'll get through the quick statements and then we can move on to them really quickly. So let's see. Abstract number 7. These were reviewed by, was it Dove and Chris and Dave?
Dave.
Things in order?
Yes.
Is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The minutes of November 16th, 2020, we had a few changes. I think, Mindy, I don't know if this version reflects the changes, but
Keep going. This version does not.
okay, what were the changes?
This, go back down, scroll down. There's one paragraph, okay, that's repeated on from page 2. Go back to page, okay. So, there was a paragraph that was repeating.
Just the first paragraph on page 2.
Okay.
Repeated page 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's up at the end of page 1.
Oh, okay,
That-
that's it right there.
Yeah, so
Right.
that was duplicate, that was taken out.
And then there's kind of like a
At
dangling.
the bottom,
Yeah.
okay. Mayor Bowman agrees goes up here. That's moved up here because that's part of this thing.
Okay,
And then that's it.
any other questions or changes? Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll get those posted as soon as possible. The monthly financial statement.
Okay, so the end of November balance was $247,000, $68.91. We deposited $1,543.60. Abstract number 7 was $13,507.49. So those were the bills being paid in December. The payroll was $4,653.16. So that leaves in the checking $230,451.86. Our savings account is at $131,995.84. And our estimated balance is between all the accounts, $362,447.70.
Any questions for the clerk? Nothing? Thank you for going through that. We'll move on to reports. And Danielle, you're here, I believe. If you can unmute yourself.
Hi, sorry.
Oh, there
Just
you
wanted
are.
to wait to unmute myself. Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I just wanted to, I didn't want to unmute myself with all the background noise in my house, so
No, we understand.
trying to find a quiet spot. I thank you very much for having me. This is so exciting that to know that this is the first year at the end of the year to give a little bit of a report on the work of the hub and you know, the impact that the village of Nelsonville has had on our work during this time. As you can imagine, as a first year new nonprofit organization, to have sustainable funding through the town of Phillipstown and through oh, thank you, Mike. I was going to do the same thing. Through the town of Phillipstown and through Nelsonville has been huge for us. It's been such a unsteady time in terms of it's our annual appeal season right now, and it looks very different than it did last year. Obviously, we really relied on some small fundraisers last year that brought us in a large amount of a good donor base, and those same donors, when we've approached this year, are in different situations, and also we weren't able to run our fundraisers that we had planned and that we had done last year. So again, the sustainable funding really makes a difference. It's an interesting time just because the need for mental health and addiction services has really grown over the past year. And so at the same time, we're trying to raise more funds in order to increase services for people who are reaching out. And what we're seeing is even in the Mike, do you mind scrolling down to a little bit, or I could pull it up? I'm just looking for the care coordination numbers. You can keep going. I always feel bossy when I have someone doing my
All good on you.
screen share. Right there. Yep, that's good. Yes, thank you. So this is from our annual report, and that looking at in our first year, we talk about this idea of care coordination, for lack of a better term. It's the work that we're doing on a daily basis. We have a part-time staff now who, Julianne, who is a care coordinator, and I also do care coordination in addition to the administrative work of the organization. But bringing Julianne on board was huge this year because she started in August, and it's just really been big for us because we're able to really give that personal touch to the people who walk through the door. And it was getting to the point where, as you can see, 60 people that we've worked with in our first year, these don't seem like huge numbers if you're in the middle of New York City, but when you're in a small town like ours, these are actually pretty sizable numbers. And what we pride ourselves on, the hub model, is that personal approach and really advocating via phone, via email. We text with our participants to check in on them. And then we also, we basically don't stop until we find them the resources they need. And we've been told by a number of different families that they've called a bunch of different places, and that they were so, they felt really listened to by our care coordinators, in that if whether it's looking for a therapist because of depression or anxiety, and then even we spend time, we make sure that we are connecting the participants to the hub as well. So for instance, right now it's a really tough time right before the holidays, especially our mental health needs are really up, and lines for therapists and different resources, there's long waiting lists for these services. And so we kind of provide we're providing care along the way. So people are coming in and meeting with us. We're one of the only services that's still seeing people face to face, or mask to mask, as we call it. So that's a real benefit to this community, because not only do they not have to travel to the other side of the county or to different counties, a lot of those services aren't even available right now face to face, so they have to see people virtually. And we're finding that a lot of the people who are anxious about this time in general, even more so, are very anxious getting behind a screen and sharing with someone virtually. So that's been really big for people walking through the door. I'm working with a 15-year-old high school student right now who is really was struggling before the pandemic hit, and her parents now are finally seeing that this is kind of spinning into another area. So we're really kind of doing some wraparound services with her as we try to locate a therapist who accepts their insurance, has availability, can see her on an ongoing basis. We have her coming in and just keeping her connected to the organization. We do on-site counseling in the meantime. And so that's just one example where we've made some really solid connections the past couple of months with inpatient and outpatient detox and addiction services in the community with families. And again, that situation and navigating that has become more complicated due to COVID. And so it's really just a nice phone call or stop in for families in the area to have, knowing that this process makes it a lot easier. We either get families who don't know where to start and this is their first phone call, or people who have made, 10 to 15 phone calls and either been turned away or had no one return their calls. And so we make that process easier for them. It's like literally like we could feel the sigh of relief when we're doing the work. We're looking at, there's a large number of teenage girls right now who are struggling, especially who have been coming through the door. And we're looking at starting a group in the new year, a virtual online group for these girls. We have a six to seven right now who are interested. So we keep trying to be really innovative in the way that we're building relationships. I spent the fall doing weekly sessions with Garrison School with their students there, their middle school students and their fourth and fifth graders. We've had a social work intern at the hub since September from NYU, and she and I shared that responsibility. We did mental health check-ins. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Cahoots, but they're kind of like fun games that like an online game, online trivia that a lot of the kids are using in school now with teachers. So we've done Cahoots around mental health issues and addiction awareness. And so a lot of these kids just feel really open asking questions. And it's a good way for them to connect to the hub, see my face, and know that this resource is there for them. And that was paid for by a Garrison Children's Education Fund grant. With Haldane, we're working on bringing mental health first aid to 10th graders there, hopefully over the winter. And that's 6 45-minute sessions that give students kind of like a mental health 101. If their friend is struggling or they see someone who needs help, what can they do, right? That they're not expected to be a professional, but there's steps that they can take to help the process. And that was, we wrote a grant with the Haldane School Foundation for that project. So we just continue to reach out to the community and really make these connections. We're really hoping that this organization sticks around for a long time, and that it becomes, the idea of the hub is really for care coordination, like that participants and families keep coming back if they're, they're connected to the organization. So, and also that these different community sectors like Nelsonville, like different municipalities, the school districts, also think of the hub as part of the services that are available for the community.
Danielle, does every municipality give you funding now, or
Cold Spring does not. So if we can shame them.
How about the county? The county approached you in any way?
No, the county is not. We are, I've presented to the county executive and have not heard.
Nothing.
No. So we'll continue to push that angle. I work closely with Nancy Montgomery and try to, she's always trying to advocate and let the other side know that we're here. It is a little bit of a trick because we do only serve Phillipstown. Sometimes when they're like, oh, when county dollars kind of get shaken out, it's more, then it's like, oh, well, you don't serve all of the county. But we're trying to make the point that this model works because it's truly community based, and hoping that it could become a model for other towns at some point.
I mean, anything we can do to help our neighbors down south in Cold Spring, or to the, I guess, east of us, help out like we are. By all means, we'll write letters, whatever we need to do.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Nelsonville is showing itself to be quite progressive on the mental health and addiction front.
Any questions for Danielle? Even there's a few people in the audience, Liz, Gloria, Heidi, if you want to unmute yourself and ask any questions, now's the time. Because we put Danielle early so that she can get off and not sit through the rest of our agenda.
I wanted to also share that we've continued our monthly community conversations, and we just did a Narcan training this past, when was that? Last Thursday. So we run them monthly. We've pivoted to holding them virtually. They were being held at the hub, in the hub's physical space, and we've pivoted and now we hold those virtually. So so residents can check our website. And Mindy, maybe I'll even remember to make a specific, send a specific email reminder that you can maybe put on the village website as well with those dates.
Yep, we can put it on the website and the Facebook page.
I just wanted to say, I've called Danielle on a couple matters and you've always been very helpful to me and very confidential. And I really enjoy those interviews you do with Melanie Matero. And some of those people that tell their story, it's so brave of them. That one young man, I'd like to meet him. I think he's a writer. He just is fantastic and a lot of good work. I just wish maybe Cold Spring could contribute a little bit, and I agree with you. The county is like miles away. People forget about Cold Spring. I see it all the time. It's sad, but thank you.
County's miles away and it feels like it's getting farther and farther.
Yes.
Thanks, Gloria. Yeah, we just want to get those conversations, just keep the conversation going. The more we do it, it destigmatizes these issues. And so David Pozis, who Gloria was speaking about, is a writer and in recovery, a recovering heroin addict, and speaks so openly about his story. And he's actually just written a book that has just been published. So we'll make sure that we promote that as well. We're hoping to do some book signings and things with him.
Thank you so much for all your amazing work for the community, Danielle. And I've been able to catch a couple of the community conversations on video. You have them recorded, right?
Yeah.
And so folks should really check them out. They're really great. And thank you for staying innovative and coming up with new ideas all the time, working with our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
And the annual report's available on your website. That's where I pulled it from.
Yep.
If anyone's curious. Anything else for Danielle?
I'm just going to add that I hope that the 2 new trustees down in the village might help to bring the village on board with support for this.
Great point, Mindy. I just want to be able to say that all our local municipalities are participating and supporting. So it's important to be able to say that. I'm working with our board of directors now. We're working towards 100% of Narcan being Narcan trained, and that's something that I think those kind of things mean a lot, like that a board stepping up and saying we're willing to do this, municipalities standing up and saying that we support this. So thanks, Mindy.
I have mine right here in my desk.
Awesome. Mike.
And in my car. So
yes, that's great.
It's great that an organization like yours is providing that training in addition, to the ambulance corps and other things that are doing it. But yeah, I mean, that really makes a huge difference in certain situations. So any other questions for Danielle before we let you go?
No question, but just to echo Chris, thank you so much for what you're doing for the community. And, I think it really saves lives. And so we're grateful to have the hub part of our community.
Thank you, Dove. Well, thank you to all of you for your support and for everything you do for our village.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
You too.
Happy holidays, Danielle.
Bye-bye.
Next on the agenda, we had the CCA update with Jeff Demansky, but I don't think he's here. Mindy, can you maybe reach out to him again and see?
Yeah, because I did email him.
You can slot him in later if he shows up. If not, we'll put him on next month.
Sure.
Old issues is the village special prosecutor contract. So last, I guess, January, we were informed by Putnam County DA Tendy that certain levels of crimes and misdemeanors were going to kind of be handed off to municipalities to prosecute, that they'd no longer be handling them. We hired a per diem prosecutor that I think ended up working maybe 1 or 2 different cases over the year. Given COVID, there wasn't much traffic. Then Mindy actually reached out to them before we re-upped the new agreement with the prosecutor, and the DA is now willing to take back on those cases so we don't have to expend the money and hire our own prosecutor. So thank you, Mindy, for saving us some money. And thank you to the county for, assuming its role in doing its job.
Yeah.
New issues, the sheriff's substation lease. We'll touch upon that real quickly. The lease is coming due in February of 2021. The officer in charge, or I guess the sergeant in charge on this side of the county, reached out to me last week wanting to start a conversation about renewing the lease. Actually stated that, they were very happy with the current terms of the lease and wanted to re-up and move forward on those. But, this is a subject that we've talked about a few times over the past year or two. Currently, the Putnam County Sheriff's Department pays $1,000 a month for a 3,800 square foot building. So, we need to have a conversation with them. We are paying the insurance on the property. And just in terms of what the fair market value of a building of that size would be, $1,000 a month is very, very, very low. So I spoke to the former mayor who was in charge when they were negotiating the past lease. And I'll follow up with him with some more of what was going on at the time. There were some discussions about improvements being made to the building in lieu of, upping the rent and that kind of thing. But I think all of that has been said and done a few years ago. And so I think it's time to revisit that, the Cliff Note version. Anybody have any thoughts on it without getting into too much detail?
No, it sounds reasonable to rethink it, though.
Yeah, they've made vast improvements inside the building. They basically rebuilt the whole downstairs and most of the upstairs last time I was there. A lot of the improvements were made, and I don't think we're ever asked, or run past the village for approval or anything like that. So there's a couple different little issues that we need to work out. So we'll start that conversation moving forward in January and see what we can come to. And we're well aware of the financial constraints that the county faces right now, but again, $1,000 a month for a county building, pretty much the only county building really, other than the, senior center on this side of the Taconic. So we're going to approach negotiations and with that in mind, and also in mind that the Sheriff's Department's a vital service. So nothing else on that from anyone. We can move on to lights in Village Park.
Am I on?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well,
Do you want to talk about that?
yeah, we got as you can see, we got the Christmas lights working by a timer because the circuit was wrong. We didn't have the right circuit on. The electrician checked it out, but we discussed the light poles. Minnie, you know more about the light poles. With what I have here about what we got to pay on the light poles, is what the mistake was made years ago on the bill for them.
Yeah, so I had followed up with them. Right now, we're paying $16.83 a month for each post in the park. If we want to convert those to LED, currently we're paying $12.02 a month per light. If we want to convert to LED, it's going to go up to $16.83. So basically for the year, we'd be paying, if we replaced all 6 with LED, it'd be $1,211.76.
Just to replace them?
That's if we replace them, yeah.
Would that be like a monthly thing, a service bill we get from them?
It would be $100.98. This is just for the fixtures themselves,
right,
not the electricity use. So, it's an additional $30 a month if we go to LEDs, but we hope to recoup some of the savings in electric use because LEDs are more efficient. He wouldn't give me concrete, numbers or anything on that because it all depended on, the rates at the time and all of that.
What I had gotten from Mindy, she printed it out, was that they're charging us $12.02 per light.
Yep.
Instead of $24.12 $24.73 per light, where they made an error back when they put them lights in. So it was an error in our favor, that we
Yeah.
didn't have to pay the full rate for the lights.
Basically, we've been paying a 50% premium on these lights because of a clerical error.
Yeah.
15 years or something.
I mean,
So-
you leave well enough alone, but it would be nice if the lights were kind of, yeah, like we had discussed, Mike, the other day, if doing away with 3 of them, technically, if you know, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I wanted to discuss that with the board. So if we
Yeah.
wanted to kind of keep level with what we're paying every month, if we got
Yeah.
rid of a few of the lights, you know, we could probably get away with just having 3 of them. You know, 1 at the very rear of the park for safety, and then maybe 2 around the edge, or even if we kept 4 of them, or whatever the board felt, just to kind of bring that monthly charge down. I mean, right now at night, if it's lit for safety, but I mean, no one's using the park at night, so it doesn't have to be flood lit like it is.
Yeah.
The LEDs are going to be much more brighter and more clear and crisp light than the yellow, what I call crime lights that are there now. I don't know. Does any
Have we ever received feedback, comments from neighbors around the park about whether they like the lighting, don't like the lighting?
No, I don't think anyone's ever really mentioned. I mean, we could ask the neighbors what their feeling is on this. I mean, there's no real rush to do this. Dave took it upon himself to really, you know, get Central Hudson here and dive into this. But so, I mean, we could wait a couple more weeks if we needed to.
When I spoke to Central Hudson, they said the trees technically should be pruned so that they're not higher than the lights. That's the problem. The summertime, the lights run all day long because there's so much shade, and I guess they got some kind of a solar something on top of them to keep them just for the nighttime. But it's so dark in there, they run all day long. So they kind of like said, you know, you got to basically cut the trees back down so that the sunlight hits the lamps. You know, so that's, we got to see where to go in the direction of cutting the trees down, not without taking them out.
I have a question about the cost. So if there was a clerical error and it was $24, now that they've recognized that, would it go up to 24?
No, they said they're gonna leave it the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple choices here. We could do nothing and stay the way where we're going and prune the trees back so that they work correctly. We could replace them all with LEDs, which would be an increased cost per month and per year. Or we could, you know, look at kind of a little bit here and there of maybe deactivate a few of the lights and just replace the others with LED.
I only see 3 from here anyway.
Say that again?
It only looks like there's 3 yellow lights from looking across from here right now.
Mhm.
It only looks like there's 1 in the front, 1 in the middle, and 1 in the back. That's all I'm seeing lit are the 3 yellow lights. So we may only have 3 lit right now anyway.
No, the other night when I walked past, they were all on. There should be 6.
All right, so maybe they're just hidden by the bushes now, and that's why I'm not seeing them.
Well, they're not the brightest lights.
They're not very bright.
No.
You know, just got to make sure folks can see if they go through there. So we don't have any
Yeah, so
lights.
if we cut down to 3 and made them LEDs, they'd be white and they'd be bright compared to these that are yellow.
I'd be in support of that, especially if it means fewer lights that we're paying electricity on.
Makes sense.
All right, so I can reach out to them, and I didn't even approach the issue with them about deactivating part of them. So I'll see if that's even possible. They may want us to do all of them at once, but I don't know. The other part of this was we were getting a new street light installed at the end of Fishkill Road. Did that go in yet, Dave?
No.
All right, but
Mindy
it's,
just signed the contracts the other day, right, Mindy?
Yes, it's in work.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's to address that intersection there where it's, you know, almost pitch black this time of night.
Yes.
Yep.
Dave, what about the tree trimming? Is that going to be an added cost?
Well, that's something we could talk to Mark about.
Yeah, I mean, the trees aren't exceptionally high, so we could probably get to them with a pole saw or something
Yeah,
like
you
that.
can get with, you can get a
Mhm.
pulse saw probably. But you guys, you know, that's something that we'll have to talk him about and basically a landscape architect type of thing. You know, whoever.
Yeah, we definitely should follow up with Mary Rice, who planned
Yeah.
the park and, you know, was the kind of the spearhead behind all there. So just get her sign off on what we're gonna do.
I'll reach out to her.
All right.
I'll reach out to Mary.
All right, so I'll follow up with the Central Hudson rep tomorrow and report back to everybody and see what we can do.
Okay.
Short-term rental law. Chris, do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So we had been expecting a first draft from Brian a little bit earlier, but he's been a bit delayed because he had some COVID exposure and was quarantining. So he's hoping to get it to us though by the end of the month, maybe even this week. So we'll be able to present it to the public at the next meeting and to get some feedback.
And follow up with some public hearings.
Yep.
If we're all in agreement.
Mm.
January meeting, we need to move it to 119 in observance of MLK Day on the 18th. So that'll be on the Tuesday. Let's see, I don't think I had anything else. Just things pertaining to the lease in case anyone had questions. Is there anything else from the board?
Yeah, Jerry's gonna cut a couple trees down on Langate tomorrow. And he's gonna
No,
close.
Healy.
Healy, and it's gonna close the road off for a couple of hours.
These are on private property?
No, I think they're on our property. up
They're
by
on
Kenny-
our
by Kenny
property.
Levine,
Okay.
up by his house, but he's gotta close our road. He's gonna go to the town and get a sign from Carl saying the road's closed at the bottom down here, because once he puts his truck in the street, you're not going through. And if you drive up this hill, you gotta back all the way out because it's just too narrow now. So he said that, he told me he's gonna go up to see Carl and get a couple signs for,
I saw he was taking trees down on Main Street today above that rock wall.
yeah.
Okay, these are the trees that we had discussed, when was it, over the summer that had to come down? All right.
Yes, this one has been long standing, and Kenny had Central Hudson out there. They removed the wires from the tree so that we can get it down. It's been ongoing.
All right.
And Jerry agrees it has to come down, so.
Any correspondence that we need to discuss? I didn't get.
Oh, wait, the only correspondence that we got was, wait 1 second. Okay. We got 2 Christmas cards. We got a beautiful Christmas card from the Bowmans. Can everybody see that?
Aw.
Yay. And happy holidays from Senator Suserino. Got a couple of Christmas cards, but this one especially beautiful.
Thank you.
That's it.
Nothing else. Do we have anything from the crowd? Gloria, Heidi, Liz?
Can I just say something quickly?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Mark did a good job with the snow, and would you agree, Heidi? And sort of not putting it on the wild flower garden. So I was grateful to him for that.
I was worried about that, but we luckily we didn't get as much as we possibly could have. And actually, now that you bring up snow, that's one thing we should probably touch upon. There were a couple issues with the Adams Avenue parking area and with the Secor parking area with people not moving their cars at 9 a.m., which, given a storm of this size, if you don't get out till noon, that's understandable.
Mhm.
Adams Avenue was clear, I guess, by that afternoon of the storm. Secor, we had a couple cars that were left there and, kind of prevented the lot from being cleaned for a few days. The last car just moved today.
Yeah.
So, we've gotten in touch one-to-one with the people who own the cars. So hopefully it's not a repeat occurrence and things will get better as the winter goes on. Did anybody else have any other feedback? I did. I called Mark or he called me yesterday on another matter, and I just let him know that his guys did a great job given the amount of snow that we had. Our roads honestly looked a lot better than a lot of the other municipalities around, and that was a good testament to how long they were out and how often. So
Also Mindy was sending a couple of emails out to the people up at my end up here who didn't clean their sidewalks at all. So that's the
yeah,
only.
we had reached out to one resident directly after the storm who informed Mindy that they were away still in Massachusetts. So, we asked Mark to clean their walkway and we'll bill them for it. Other people on Main Street who didn't clean their walks, we've reached out to them via email, like Dave said, but if it gets to be an ongoing occurrence, I mean, we'll just have Mark do it and bill them. I don't know what else to do if people won't do it, especially in some of the areas on 301 and Main Street where, there's hardly any shoulder on the highway, on the roadway, and people are walking in the middle of the street carrying packages and kids and everything else. It's ridiculous. So people have to take care of their property and abide by the law. So anything else?
Jeff Demansky he answered me. He had a family emergency. He totally apologizes, and he would have been here if he could, but he'll be here next month to update everybody, and
Right.
Sincere apologies.
No problem. Great.
Yeah.
I hope everything's all right with them.
Yeah, me too.
Anything else from public comment? Going once, going twice. Is there any interest in doing a quick executive session to discuss the lease on the fire department? It's kind of a real property issue, and we probably should kick that off sooner rather than later. And while everyone's here,
I'll leave.
do that now. Thank you.
What do you just X out? I don't know.
Yeah, you can hit leave down at the bottom there, and I don't want to have to boot you out, but
I thank you.
thank you, Heidi.
I know.
Hi, Heidi.
Happy holidays.
Well, is there a motion to go into executive session to discuss real property matters?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 So recording is resumed. We are exiting executive session after discussing the property matter with the sheriff's substation. If there's no other business before the board, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas all.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Don't forget I'm off tomorrow.
Yep, sorry we could not have a holiday party this year, but we'll see how the vaccinations go, and who knows, maybe I'm being optimistic, but maybe by the end of the summer we can have a block party or something, but I doubt it. So maybe
That would
next
be
Christmas.
awesome.
You never know.
Wishful thinking. That would be awesome. We need something to look forward to.
Just stay healthy.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, everybody, have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Take care all.